दोस्तों, सिविल सर्विसेज एग्जामिनेशन सभी के लिए सपना है। ग्रेजुएशन करने के बाद सबसे पहली ख्वाहिश होती है कि क्लास 1 गवर्नमेंट जॉब में कैसे पहुंचे। यूनियन पब्लिक सर्विस कमीशन कंडक्ट द सिविल सर्विसेज एंड फॉरेस्ट सर्विसेज एग्जामिनेशन एवरी ईयर। टुडे वी हैव विद अस toppers of Indian Forest Services 2018, and we will talk about the strategy, method of preparation, the source of study, and what should be the planning in our day-to-day life for the preparation of this exam. I am B. Singh, Chairman and Managing Director, MADG and Next IAS Group. Today we have with us Ms. Arushi Mishra. She has secured All India Rank 2 in Indian Forest Services. Arushi, welcome to the Next IAS studio.
Thank you, sir.
Her optionals in the Forest Services exams are Geology and Forestry, and it was her first attempt. And she belongs to Raebareli, Uttar Pradesh. She did BTech from IIT Roorkee in Metallurgy in 2014 batch. And the important is that it was her first attempt in Forest Services and securing All India Rank 2. Second candidate with me is Mr. Chirag Jain, who has secured All India Rank 10 in Forest Services 2018 exam. His optionals are Mathematics and Forestry, and it was his second attempt in Forest Services examination, and he is passed out BTech from IIT Kanpur in Electrical Engineering in 2015 batch. He belongs to Saharanpur, Uttar Pradesh. He is also facing civil services interview, which is scheduled in next month. So today we will have a discussion with respect to the preparation methods, examination approach, the source of study, the planning, and the other related aspects of the Forest Services examination and civil services examination. So Chirag, you are also welcome to the Next IAS studio.
Thank you, sir.
So Arushi, I will begin first. The discussion is related to the preparation. When you started conceiving the idea of the UPSC exam, and when you actually begin, because you are from IIT, you must have some career options from the college.
Yes, sir. Sir, when I was in my 4th year, I got this an idea. It was from my neighbor that this is an all India exam that I might consider in my lifetime. So after graduating from my college, I did not join the job and directly plunged into the preparation for the civil services.
Okay.
And this being my first attempt with the forest services, so for the forest services in particularly, for the optionals, I did prepare in the 2 months only, in the October and November. However, the preparation of GS and English has had a background of past 4 years. So I think the result that has come, it is an effort of past 4 years.
Right.
That has been there.
Normally what we see, most of the engineering background students, they target to civil services, but they write the Forest Services examination. Is it a backup plan or is it a prime plan of the Forest Services?
Sir, when I started, I thought of only the All India services only, because I had many career options as well. So there are only three All India services. So my plan was either getting into IAS, IPS or Indian Forest Services.
Okay.
And it has been my pleasure that I have been selected into the
Great. Chirag, coming to you, coming from the IIT Kanpur with the electrical, and you altogether decided to go for the mathematics and the forestry. What was the reason you decided to go for the maths?
Sir, I'm very comfortable in mathematics, and I have liked mathematics since my school days, and I went through the syllabus and I had certain degree of familiarity with the subject. So these were some of the reasons behind choosing mathematics option. Plus this optional provides a certain degree of objectivity, unlike the other optional subjects of humanities particularly, where there are certain degree of subjectivity. So this was another reason behind choosing mathematics as my optional subject.
Okay, so in civil services also you have kept maths, and in forest services also.
Yes, sir.
And the other subject in the forestry. I have seen most of the Forest Services candidates, they keep their second optional forestry. What is attractive in the forestry, and what was the parameter to choose this subject?
So first reason is that it is directly related to the service that we are opting for. Forestry provides some kind of familiarity with the Indian Forest Service, the career that we have with us. And secondly is the subject that has one of the least syllabus among all the optional subjects in this examination, so it can be completed along with the main optional subject, that is mathematics, or the other subjects that people take. It can be done in a
less time.
Yes.
Arushi, what was your finding? Forestry and geology both are the different, and for the civil services, your optional was sociology.
Yes, sir.
Keeping 3 subjects in 2 exams, was it difficult to cope up?
Yes, sir. Certainly, it was difficult. However, what I learned in this preparation, sir, if we manage the time very well and if we plan our studies, then it is actually doable in those 2 months only.
Right.
Because as Mr. Chirag said, the syllabus of forestry is small, and as well as the syllabus of geology is also small. However, there is a lot more aspect that is given to learning in geology.
Okay.
But managing time and making short notes helped me a lot in that.
Okay, so friends, making short notes and the time management, these are the 2 important points to be noted. We'll talk about how to do it in detail. Arushi, I'm taking the next question.
Yes, sir.
When you started preparing for the prelims, what was your approach? Whether you started from NCERT and basics, or you started directly reading the notes or maybe coachings or some help? How you managed initially?
So in my initial phase, as a beginner, when I started, I just stuck to the major books only. That would be the NCERTs and the basic books that are being referred. For example, Lakshmikant in Polity.
Okay.
And gradually after that, I switched over to the material from the coaching, and that was specifically the test papers. I did not read any other material.
Okay.
And I think the revision of all these, the basic materials as well as the test papers, helped me a lot in securing marks.
Right. Chirag, normally prelims is a challenge today, and most of the students, they are worried about how to clear prelims exam. So what was your approach, and what you would like to suggest the aspirants, what would be their approach of preparation for prelims?
Sir, I did it in 2 stages. Normally the preparation is done in that way, as Ma'am Arushi has said. First we focus on standard books and NCERTs. This is the first stage. We should do them in such a way that we don't need to revisit them frequently.
Okay.
We should make notes. We should underline whatever is the required things. And in the second stage, we refer to coaching materials and various government documents. We refer to Press Information Bureau. There's a website. So it is the second stage is about value addition. So after we do that, we should solve test papers, because the thing in prelims is it's not just about knowledge, it's about a smart approach. By looking at the options given in the particular questions, we have to decipher what is right, what is wrong, and it sometimes it may happen that all the options may seem right. So that kind of mindset has to be developed, and that comes when we solve many test papers.
Correct. Arushi, social media is something जहाँ पर स्टूडेंट्स या तो बहुत ज़्यादा समय दे देते हैं या फिर वो सोशल मीडिया को बिल्कुल इग्नोर कर देते हैं. सो आप इस चीज़ को कैसे देखते हैं कि व्हाट शुड बी राइट अप्रोच टू यूटिलाइज द सोशल मीडिया फॉर द प्रिपरेशन?
Sir, in my opinion, constructive use of social media is very necessary.
Right.
I would not suggest that cutting off from the social media at all. However, the constructive use that I would suggest that in my preparation also, though some sites are there that you should avoid in your preparation time. For example, people use Facebook, Instagram, and that is genuinely not advisable. However, when it comes to YouTube or Google, when you Google something out, or the various sites like Investopedia, Wikipedia, and other sites also.
Right.
In that, one has to be very constructive and very time efficient in managing this. For example, while studying for geology and forestry, and since both the options were new and I had a very limited time span to do that, what I did at my whenever I get tired during taking lunch break or dinner break, rather than watching some other material on YouTube, I usually stuck to the points. I just wrote the points that were exam specific.
So you made initial framework. These are the things I have to refer in social media, and you stuck to only those areas.
Yes, sir. I took out the question paper printed, the syllabus printed, and each and every word of the syllabus, I saw it on YouTube or Googled it somehow, and used that social media. And in fact, Quora also helped somewhere. Though it is not a very reliable source, I would genuinely suggest.
But still, it is up to you how much you want to learn, and
it is a very constructive and a very balanced approach that you have to take. Otherwise, there are chances that you would get swayed.
Right. Chirag, how you effectively utilize the social media and the learning platforms or online platforms?
Sir, I refer to certain groups on WhatsApp and Telegram. There were groups of the students who were preparing. So there we used to have a lot of information exchange. We used to
among the friends.
Yes, and we used to help each other in questions, particularly in mathematics. Apart from that, YouTube, especially Rajya Sabha TV, is very useful, especially the big picture program in that particular channel. So in this way, social media can be of great use. Yes, we should not waste time on unproductive activities. I kept the Facebook and other Instagram, etc. I kept them deactivated.
Okay.
So that should not be done.
Right. So, dear friends, you need to be disciplined when you are using social media for your preparation, because there has to be full stops up there, and you need to filter out what to read and what not to. I'm taking the next part. In last few years, we are watching every year the exam of prelims is becoming more current oriented, and in current affairs definitely is something which is always challenging for students. Which newspaper, which magazines, which online platforms you will suggest? Arushi, what is your view on it?
Sir, for the current affairs, as we see, it is definitely changing. I would suggest a minimum 2 newspapers, because scoring 130 plus when it comes to prelims, it needs a lot of preparation with reference to current affairs. So the newspapers would be Hindu and the Indian Express as of my choice. And on internet, there is a vast amount of resources that one can refer. However, one has to stick with very few sources only. For example, the PIB site, as Mr. Chirag has mentioned, Rajya Sabha TV, and then different kinds of platforms of coaching institutions are also there.
Yes.
They also put some materials. However, I would suggest that stick to 1 or 2 coaching materials only. I personally suggest GK Today is a better option when it comes to prelims, because it covers very small and minute details also that are being missed somewhere in the light. And then it comes to reading the monthly magazines or the basic magazines. I would refer reading 2 magazines in the minimum.
Right. Chirag, apart from the sources which the Arushi has told, you have some additional sources which you referred or you want to advise?
For current affairs, some institutes come up with around 1 month before prelims. Some institutions come up with certain summary of the current affairs for different topics, for economy, polity,
and so that is also useful.
That can be done. That is useful. Apart from that, one should not stop reading newspapers. I have seen this trend that generally people don't read newspapers and rely only on the coaching materials. I would not advise that.
Okay. Right. So keep on reading the newspapers, because that is something which is very fundamental, and you will develop the writing skills as well. That helps you especially in writing of the mains exam, general studies part. Prelims and then mains. The real test starts when you come for the mains. And now question come answer booklet series, which gives you a specific space. You don't have much flexibility to write in your way because the space is constrained. How to write the best answers in a limited space and limited time?
Sir, what I think in my personal journey, what helped was, so for the first 10 days, if you have started writing answer practice, for first 10 days, I would suggest that do not consider writing within the time limit and within the limited constraint of the of which it is given. One has to brainstorm and think about the new ideas and the new presentation skills, because there are when we consider the way people are writing, there are many cooked up solutions that people present, that if you do this you will get passed. However, I would suggest for the 10 days you develop your own individuality, how you can represent it in the paper, and then after that one can start writing within the time frame and within the given limited space. However, what I did in these papers that made a change was along with following what was supposed to be followed, like writing the answer paper including the introduction, conclusion, way forwards and the tables and charts, I try to introduce my individuality, my own thinking where I can. So I think that helps in every paper.
Right. Chirag, the mains examination, when it is very close, almost let us say only 30 days are left. In last 30 to 40 days, what should be the approach and how you prepared for this?
So for interview?
Yeah, no, for the mains examination, because good amount of pressure develops, a lot of revision required, optional GS, and when you are writing forest and services as well as the civil services, you have a lot of syllabus to be done in the less and limited time. So
we should follow one principle, that is less is more. We should not be reading too much content, too many materials. We should focus on consolidating whatever we have already done. We should be focusing on revising, and rather than going after new and new, more and more sources. So that is something that should be followed. It should be like that. So we should revise 20 days before. In 20 days we should revise all, and then again after 10 when 10 days are remaining, so we should again revise.
Yeah.
But it should be consolidated. If it is not consolidated, then we won't be able to revise in such a short period of time.
Okay. So the planning has to begin right in advance, because in last 30 days the revision, compilation, writing skills, lot many work has to be done.
And another thing is, in mains, what matters apart from the issues that we understand, what matters is value addition. We should remember the facts. We should mention the committees' names and judgments of the Honorable Supreme Court, constitutional articles. So we should focus on these value addition points. We should try to remember them, that we can utilize in the mains answer writing.
Right, because this is something which will make the difference between your answer and the other's answer. For engineers, when usually they do BTech, for them it is a difficult time and difficult stage to choose an optional subject. So what would be the criteria to decide an optional subject for civil services exam?
So it should be,
because I see you was electrical engineer, but you decided to go for mathematics. So what was your criteria and what you would like to suggest for engineers?
Sir, it should be a subject where one is comfortable, where one is able to sustain that subject for at least 1.5 years. So it's the interest that matters.
Okay. Arushi, what is your view on it? Because sociology has no connect with engineering.
Yes.
And anyway, metallurgy, I believe, is not the part of the optional subjects. So what was the criteria you opted for sociology?
Sir, since metallurgy was not an optional in the civil services itself, I just started to think about what interests me, and I dedicated around 7 days to read some basic syllabus or some basic questions and answer of all the optionals that I can prepare. Certainly, when you are from a different background in the engineering, I was not able to. I was clear in my head that I was not able to prepare mechanical engineering and other subjects. The only subjects related to science left were maths, physics, chemistry, and other subjects of humanities. So sociology was a subject that rekindled my interest in that, and also the syllabus is easier as compared to other options. For example, economics. So that's easier, that's doable, and you get a new perspective and new examples every day when one opens a newspaper. Every day, new sociological examples and new perspectives are there. So it is a good thing.
Preparation for civil services and forest services examination is a real test of the patience, because it takes 2 years, it may take 3 years, it may take 4 years. What keeps you motivated while you prepared for this, and what you suggest students to take these steps so that you feel motivated?
Sir, what I thought into my preparation also, I was never demotivated. The reason might have been there because I was focused on my goal, and I personally thought that I would not leave the place until I get selected. And
so this is self-determination.
So self-determination indeed. And as a normal human being, I also get demotivated at times.
That is a part of life.
I used to see the YouTube videos of the toppers.
Right.
And when I saw the videos, and I realized that my journey is not that tough as compared to the people who get selected who are from very humble background. So I should be thankful that I'm getting those privileges and work towards it.
Right. Chirag, you must have faced some such situations where you felt stressed or demotivated. Was there any stage in your preparation, and how you plan to overcome with this situation?
So there were multiple stages. when I could not clear in my first 2 attempts. So I faced certain these kind of situations. But then I thought that why did I start? I did not started to quit ultimately. I started because I have to get in.
Right.
So the motivating factor was the result, that one day I'll get the result because I'm making my efforts. And secondly, I've invested so much amount, so much time in this, so much so efforts. So I should not be quitting. Apart from that, I kept on doing certain activities that would help me in the long run in the career as a public servant. For example, recently after mains of Indian Forest Service, I went on a trip called Good Governance Yatra, where I met various eminent people in governance. I saw the first-hand implementation of various public projects. So candidates should also keep a tab on certain things. Apart from the study part, they can engage in certain these kind of activities. For the people who are targeting forest, they can visit forest areas, national parks and wildlife sanctuaries. So these are the alternate activities that one should engage in along with the preparation.
People say when you fail in planning, it means you are planning to fail. So planning plays an important role in preparation. So what was your planning, Arushi, and how you planned your study on routine life? In fact, I will say, what was your daily plan of study?
Yes, sir. So indeed, what you said, that your planning is very important, and I also personally feel that whenever we are going to give the examination, that examination day is practically a closing ceremony of the strategy that you have made, and the winning or losing is pre-decided on the basis of strategy. So planning, sir, here makes a very important role. What I did for these, the planning for civil services was that I plan to do regular studies. For example, I never took a break for more than a day, and indeed one takes a break for in between 15 days or so. However, in the those days of study, I studied for like 14 to 15 hours a day. It was because as the number of attempts were increasing, the desperation for the result was also increasing, and moreover, whenever you get free, you get the time to think about what all is going wrong in your life. So it is better to work hard and achieve that goal.
Right.
And so in this forestry and geology preparation, so since the time was very less, it was around 60 days only. So I decided to work for 16 or to 17 hours a day.
17 hours?
Yes, indeed. And for 35 days, within 35 days, I was able to cover the syllabus of geology and forestry.
Right.
And then, as Mr. Chirag said, the rest was spent in consolidation.
17 hours, 30 days is really commanding, right?
So it was definitely tough, but however, thinking about the name in the selection,
that is what the self-inspiration matters a lot. Yes, when you have that zeal to do, and once you are inspired from yourself, you will do one day. Chirag, when you crossed the mains examination, now this was a call for the interview, forest services examination and the civil services examination. What was the difference in approach for both the exams, and what is the similarity in the preparation for interview in both? You took the same way or you took differently both?
Sir, GK is same as so GK and GS are same for both. And about English, so in English, in forest, English is here the marks add in the merit.
No, I'm talking about the interview preparation.
Okay, sir, for interview, Indian Forest Service, since it's a technical service, so we have to go to a slightly technical side, especially with regard to forest and environment. In civil service, it is a generalist service, so we have to be more analytical, more thinking. So this is some difference. Forest interview is not much focus on analytical part. More focus is on forest and environment.
Okay. You are from electrical engineering background. Did they ask any question related to your BTech curriculum in the forest services interview?
So this time they did not ask.
This time no question.
But they may ask. So one should be prepared.
One should be prepared for the holistic performance. You need to be prepared with the technical subjects as well. Arushi, what was your interview experience? And you, as you discussed and told, your board was Sri Vasi sir. So, what was your experience in the interview?
So, my interview experience was genuinely very good. I was actually amazed at the process, that how comfortable they make one feel. And my interview board was very cordial, and the best thing about the interview was that they were asking questions that were very impromptu questions, and they were just checking at the comfort level.
Okay.
For example, they asked about they asked one question that our Bassi sir only. The second question was this: I see that you are comfortably prepared, and tell me something that you have no idea about. I would ask questions from that. So when I started to say, so there are many aspects that I have no idea about, then he said that something that you have 0.0% idea about, then I'll ask questions from that topic only. So I just comfortably said, sir, if the criteria is that I should be knowing 0.0% of the topic, then I would not be knowing the topic. So I cannot suggest you the topic. And then the board laughed. And then again and again they asked questions like that only. So they were just testing the comfort level.
So the personality test is all about to check your confidence level and your sense of understanding the situation, how do you take the decisions, and how do you answer the situation based questions. And UPSC is one of the most transparent organizations, and we have seen the well qualified people make an assessment of your performance. Since you have already crossed the prelims and mains exam, now it is the time that you have to express yourself in a different way, which is something related to the personality. Chirag, for the students, what message you would like to give, how they should begin their journey, and what is the right time to start their preparation, whether it is during the college time or just after completing the graduation, then they should start?
So I would suggest that students who are in college, they should start getting familiarized with the process. They should start reading certain books. At the same time, they should not neglect their college part, the college studies, and they should also keep participating in the college activities, because ultimately in the long run this will help in grooming their personality. After college, they should involve them, if they are not taking any placement or whatever be the condition. After college or whenever they are free, they should focus full time on the preparation. So this is what I would
say. Arushi, my last question from you would be, if candidate is a very fresher and he or she wants to begin the journey for the UPSC, what initial steps you would advise to begin with?
So, if the candidate is very fresh, then I would genuinely suggest that one goes through the NCERTs and the basic books, and then one needs to get enrolled in some institution. Probably, and I'm not specifically saying the brick and mortar institutions only.
Right.
That can be any online institution also. It is not to prepare her or him for the examination. It is just to give the direction in which direction one has to study, because since the course is very much and one gets lost in the studies. So I would suggest direction is important, and if there is somebody who is there to guide you, or there is a peer group that has been made, then I think that requirement also suffices.
Right. So it is rightly said, preparation begins from yourself, and you have to start your preparation once you decide and you make your mindset. Few things which we can derive out of the discussion. The first is that you have to understand the exam and read the syllabus, thoroughly understand, and then you begin. Secondly, beginning, as the Arushi told, begin with the fundamentals and NCERTs, and that is the source of study material. So the source of study material has to be very good, and there's no time to read 10 books for one subject, but yes, 2 to 3 books which are the best among all, you can decide. Then the planning makes an important difference in the preparation. Routine planning, daily planning, that makes something difference. Answer writing skill has to be good, and the how to answer in a limited time and limited space when QCAP type of the questions are asked, that is another important part. And then finally, when you reach into the interview, your preparation for the interview makes a difference. Chirag and Arushi, I'll just ask one last question which is related to the next IAS. How was your experience in the next IAS when you appeared for the interview?
Sir, my board was Gautam sir's board, and the interview was a bit stressed interview here, and that was for a particular reason. And the interview was stressed, and I gave the questions I tried to be light in that moments also. And when the reviews were given, the next IAS board gave very good reviews. So that was the moment I realized that it is actually about how you prepare for the stressful conditions there. So this was an interview board where I realized that probably if I can manage this situation, then I would definitely be able to manage that situation as well.
Right.
So this was a confidence booster.
Right. So Chirag, would you like to tell any of your experiences?
I joined the next IAS for Indian Forest Service as well as civil services preparation, interview preparation. So I gave one interview for forest, and my experience was good. It was the first interview that I gave here, so that interview got me into the actual interview mode. So before that and after that there was slight difference. So this is something that was really good. Apart from that, the feedback provided by the board was helpful in correcting the answers that I should frame for the questions.
So dear friends, Next IAS is an initiative of the MADG group, and we provide the guidance for the civil services and forest services examination. We have the pre-com main foundation batches for the general studies and optional batches also for the some of the selective optional subjects. If you want any support for the prelims or mains or the interview stage, we are eager to help you, guide you. Keep on watching the series of the Toppers Talk, and I hope that this series will help you to plan your preparation and to strategize your journey of the success. Thank you.